Hello, everyone. Hi, nice to see you all here this morning. Thank you for coming to this session. Welcome to this session, this breakout session for the Arizona Coalition for Military Families 11th Annual Statewide Symposium. We're glad that you're joining us. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can go ahead and see what we're doing. This is the Women Veterans Session, and my name is Leslie Vivial. I am with Arizona Coalition for Military Families. I'm a program specialist, and I work with the Be Connected website directly and our Be Connected community network team. Today's session will be led by Director Wright, Director Wanda Wright with the Arizona Department of Veterans Services, and Sabrena Schmella with the VA Regional Office. I want you to understand that attendees are going to get a better understanding of the journeys of women veterans and fully recognize the value that they bring to their communities. And this session will feature stories about transitioning from the military, workforce integration, accessing VA benefits, and the importance of self-identification. So welcome to this session, and we're glad to see you here. I'll go ahead and give it over to Director Wright and take it.
Thank you, Leslie. It's awesome. They have little captions down there so people can read as we're talking. I think that's fantastic. Anyway, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our session. If you don't know me, I'm Wanda Wright, and I'm the director for the Arizona Department of Veterans Services. And I always say, please don't confuse us with the VA. VA is our partner, but we are actually state employees. I work for Governor Ducey. I am a cabinet member for him, and we try to help our Arizona veterans understand that we are here to help. And I am a veteran, Air Force veteran with 26 years, 5 active duty, and 21 Arizona National Guard. And so I will now hand it over to Sabrena.
Good morning. Thank you, Director Wright. I am Sabrena Schmella, and I am a supervisor with the Department of Veterans Affairs Phoenix Regional Office. I've been with the Department of Veterans Affairs for about 12 years, and I've served in numerous capacities from the National Call Center to the Veterans Service Center and across a couple of regional offices. I am an Army veteran, and I served 10 years in the Army Reserves. The last 4 of that was active duty. So that's me.
Great, thanks, Sabrena. So next slide, please. And next slide. Great. So we're just going to start off with a few demographics, which I think you might find surprising. There are about 2 million women veterans in the United States. But what I found interesting is that 14% of American men are veterans, but only 1.5% of women are veterans. That's a really teeny tiny number. And so I always say, I feel like the community doesn't necessarily understand women veterans because there's so few of us out there. There's 1 in 69 women in the civilian workforce are women veterans. And then in FY20, approximately 28% of those 2 million women receive disability compensation. So that's a fairly high number. And in my mind, that means there's healthcare that is needed to support them. And so as we go on today and talk about some of the women that we're going to be highlighting, if you will, just keep some of these numbers in mind as we're going along, and recognize that even though we are few, we are awesome. Next slide. Arizona is in line with a national trend of 1.5% of the population being women veterans. Perhaps that's why the women veteran population as a whole are starting to be recognized nationally. The individual women veterans still get forgotten. And you know, being a woman veteran and being a director of a major department in the state, I've always felt it my obligation to support women veterans and do whatever I could to eliminate barriers to access to healthcare and really to all services and benefits. You know, we talked a lot about Be Connected, and I feel like that has helped us really cover that gap sometimes of access to those services and benefits. The demographic data is important for all of us to remember. While everyone has had personal interaction with a woman, most people have not had personal interaction with women veterans. So this brings up a good question. What does a women veteran look like? So if you have an opportunity, and I don't want to steal your thunder, Leslie, so sorry if I have. Have you served in the military? And if so, please share how many years you served and what branch in the chat box. And while you're doing that, I'll cover a little bit more. Women veterans come in different shapes, sizes, colors, races, genders, and abilities, and religious affiliations. You really can't stereotype what a veteran looks like. So challenge yourself to rethink what a veteran is and what they look like. The best way to identify a woman veteran is to ask, have you ever served in the military? And so I see quite a few comments. So we have a 30-year veteran, Jeannie Blaze. Hey, Jeannie. Ooh, Army paralegal. That's cool. You know, it looks like we have everybody from 4 years to 30 years. More than 23 years, 4.5 Air Force vets, 21 active Army plus Arizona Guard and Arizona active duty.
Oh, and Pat Yuba, nice to see you, Pat.
Yeah, 30 years in the Army. So shout out to all of you for all of your service. You know, it's awesome to see. We really, you know, we really love to see when women take the honor of veteran, you know, as part of the description of them. And so as we move through this presentation, we're going to present to you a few more of them. So next slide. Great. So we have our veteran here. So cute. And she's a woman veteran. And so let's do another little poll and see what other occupation she might have. So pick A, B, C, or D and what you think she might also be. Because throughout the session, we will be highlighting these Arizona women veterans. Women veterans are not only diverse in their race and culture, but in their choice of professions. Please select the career path you think this Arizona women veteran chose after serving. All right. Let's see how that's going.
Okay, I launched the poll. All right, so we're on the first one, just so everyone knows. Oh. Right.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. You put it in the chat before the poll went up. I apologize. That's my fault.
All right.
Oh, that you have to guess in advance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only got 9 people have responded. Come on, everybody, go ahead and put in your answer.
And you do have to answer all 3 in order to complete the process.
Okay.
We have to guess in advance.
Or, well, we'll keep this up and we'll move through the other ones. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just, yeah.
All right, no problem. And then we'll get the answers at the end.
Sounds good.
Well, too late. We already have the answers up. Sorry. I didn't realize they were all tied together. I don't think we realized that, but that's okay. So Tonya is a diagnostic radiologic technologist. Ooh, that's a mouthful. A woman veteran. She served 7 years in active duty Army as an enlisted parachute rigger. Wow, I feel like that's awesome. She went from inspecting, testing, and packing military parachutes to a civilian career as a diagnostic radiologic technologist, where she ensures quality diagnostic images are captured, maintains imaging equipment, and assists physicians as they make their diagnosis. And so I think the poll got it mostly right. All right, next slide.
So we wanted to talk about self-identifying as a veteran, and specifically self-identifying as a woman veteran. Many women who have served in the military do not readily identify as veterans. They may say they served in uniform, or they may say that the term veteran doesn't fit them. And the reasons for this, we know from some of the research. One study done by the Department of Veterans Affairs showed us that female veterans who sought healthcare through the Veterans Administration, of those, 23% reported experiencing sexual assault and 55% reported experiencing sexual harassment while in the military. And according to the Department of Defense, 6.8% of women in the military reported unwanted sexual contact or conduct. And so the impact of military sexual trauma is real, and we see it in whether a woman veteran chooses to identify publicly as a veteran or not. About 1 in 3 women seen in the VHA respond yes when screened for military sexual trauma. The other thing that impacts this self-identification process in women veterans is reintegration post-service, which is impacted by others not recognizing or respecting service of women veterans. And the idea that people not believing that we're veterans makes things harder. And all veterans, regardless of gender, experience some of these reintegration issues, but it is profoundly more difficult for women veterans, simply not being believed. Oh, you're not, how's that? You didn't serve. That idea. The Journal of Women's Health completed a study entitled The Baseline Characteristics from the Women Veterans Cohort Study, Gender Differences and Similarities in Health and Healthcare Utilization. And this was a study conducted over 3 years, and it focused primarily on GWOT veterans, Global War on Terror veterans. And we found significant variation in risk factors, health outcomes, and healthcare utilization among men and women veterans of the same era. So our GWOT veterans are pretty savvy. Many of them file a VA claim. They are aware of the benefits available to them. And so we can deduce from this data that the outcomes are more severe for women veterans of previous eras. And then also the social stigmas and stereotypes associated with being a veteran, excuse me, and issues such as PTSD. So the idea that, somehow you're a ticking time bomb in terms of mental health, or that you're not a safe place, is another reason that women may not choose to identify as a veteran. Next slide. We have this beautiful woman veteran. And you have already selected what you believe her future occupation was after service. So we will discuss that.
I thought this was a really interesting one.
I agree. Next slide. Kassie is a technical support engineer and a woman veteran. She's a Marine Corps combat veteran who serves 5 years as an unmanned aerial vehicle pilot. So she's a pilot. She was the first female to be qualified as an internal and external UAV pilot, where she was responsible for planning, coordinating, and integrating drone missions in support of combat operations. She is a pioneer in the industry and launched her career in the civilian world as a subject matter expert and a technical support engineer to defense contractors. She's mighty, let's face it. Very cool. Next slide, please. So I shared a little bit of my story. I served in the Army, as I said, but I did not deploy overseas. Probably the hardest thing I did was have a baby while on active duty, and my husband was in Iraq, and I was a commander at the time. So there was a level of stress there, but I didn't have a combat experience. And I will always tell you that I really didn't do anything hard. And when I became a veteran, my dad, who did hard things, he was an Army veteran as well. He retired from the service, and he was a helicopter pilot and a combat veteran of Vietnam. And so when I became a veteran, he said to me, "You're a veteran, and this is a title that no one can take away from you." And that really stuck with me. And so I share that today because we have all served our country. And so if you didn't have someone tell you this, you can take my dad's advice too, and realize that you served your country and you're a veteran, and no one can take that away from you. And so we have to rise above the old stigmas and the stereotypes. Obviously, all the benefits are now available to men and women. That wasn't always the case. In some of these things, there are things that we look back on as in our history as an agency, and we simply have to apologize because there's no explanation. There's nothing to be said, except for the things weren't always handled as they should have been, but we are better, and we're getting better all the time. Also, what we bring to the community as women veterans is powerful. When we advocate for self, when we advocate for others. So, things to think about: accessing your benefits, accessing healthcare, compensation, education, vocational rehabilitation, which is really a career program. There are specific women's health clinics. I know that Kristen Norquist, the women's veterans coordinator for the Phoenix VA Medical Center, is in this session, and she is a powerhouse, and their programs are constantly evolving, and that there is legitimate primary care specific to women, military sexual trauma treatment, pre and postnatal treatment, if not at a VA facility, can be outsourced, and transgender care. This has really impressed me in my outreach in the last few years of how the Veterans Health Administration has evolved to support our LGBTQ and transgender veterans in their healthcare needs that are specific and specialized. And then, of course, accessing the community of veterans and community-based groups and support groups through healthcare is also something that's available to us. So when we proudly step forward as a women veteran, there's a world of opportunity available to us.
If it's okay, can I interject real quick? Director Wright, do you mind? I'd just like to let you guys know a little bit about my experience, because I'm also a veteran. I didn't mention that. And I didn't self-identify for years and years and years. One of the reasons is I served way back when, during Desert Storm. I was in the reserves while I was going to school at U of A, and almost got deployed, but was never deployed. So as a reservist and never serving overseas, I didn't see myself as a veteran. And I never even got, at that point in time, before a 9/11, I mean, we didn't even receive a copy of our DD-214s. I had to request a copy to actually get it. And the nice thing since working for ACMF is I have met other veterans, even male veterans who served here in the US, who never went overseas, who never served in combat, and even they have trouble identifying as a veteran. So it's nice to see that it's women veterans, we do have that feeling. It was like, are you sure I'm a veteran? But it's not just us. And we've got that old stereotype, that old stigma that we've got to overcome. But what's been so nice is it's been other veterans that I've met in the community. They're the ones who are welcoming. They're the ones who really, say, hey, you're a veteran. No matter what anybody else says, you signed on the dotted line. You did all that work. You're a veteran too. So
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And
I appreciate that, Leslie. Thank you so much. It's so true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we all have our own stories to tell, and every story is worthy to be shared. And I think as women, forget being a veteran, but as women, sometimes we hesitate at the value of our own story, but we all have valuable stories to share. So I appreciate you coming forward. If we can go to the next slide, please. This is a timeline of women veterans and the evolution of access to VA benefits. Real talk, from the Revolutionary to World War I, there were lots of women serving, there were no benefits. There was real progress after World War II. The GI Bill was for everyone, and over 332,000 women were eligible for veterans benefits. I thought that was a really large number. And so the GI Bill impacted an entire generation in all genders, not just men. And many women were eligible for it and were able to take advantage of it as well. Next slide, please. The 1950s was not the best era for the progress of women on any front, let's be real. Limits to women serving in the armed forces at that time, or even acting in leadership roles within the Department of Defense. There was legislation making sure that women couldn't lead. Let's let that sink in. And then I also just find some of these dates always shocking. Segregation in the military did not end until 1948. Women who joined the reserves after World War II were involuntarily recalled for Korea. So like their role was limited and they weren't able to lead and there weren't a lot of benefits available to them. But when the war came up again for Korea, they were all called up. In 1977, military veteran status was finally granted to women. And VA appointed their first women veteran coordinators in 1985. And the Women's Veterans Healthcare Program streamlined services for women veterans. And at that time, 4.4% of veterans were women. In 1992, Congress expanded women's healthcare to include treatment for PTSD as a result of military sexual trauma. And in FY20, more than 196,000 women veterans used education benefits, and more than 500,000 women veterans received $10.7 billion in disability benefits. And nearly 10% of veterans now are women. And some of the most exciting legislation has just happened in the past year. The Johnny Isaacson and David P. Rowe, MD, Veterans Healthcare and Benefits Improvement Act of 2020 is a 300-page piece of legislation whose size and scope had it referred to as the Veterans Omnibus Bill. It includes the Deborah Sampson Act, a suite of legislation aimed at improving the experience of women veterans in the VA, which is really, the Deborah Sampson Act is considered the crown jewel of this package. It improves the health, benefits, education, and VA support system for women veterans, including requiring the VA to create an anti-harassment and anti-assault policy, improving women-specific primary care, expanding access to childcare, and strengthening mental health initiatives. So the progress is, I think we have to say it's slow, but it does continue. And it's significant. You know, we have come a long way and we continue to move forward with an eye towards serving our veterans in the way that they deserve and with the comprehensive care that they need. Next slide, please. I'm going to pause here for just a second. Okay. And this is just sort of an overview of the mission of women's veterans healthcare, that it's comprehensive, that it's private, safe, dignified, sensitive to gender-specific needs, the right care in the right place in the right time, that it's state-of-the-art, high-quality preventive and clinical care. The top medical diagnoses for women veterans nationally as of FY 2020 are in the right column. You can see that most of them are mental health diagnoses. And then the last, and then we've got lower back pain, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. So we all have struggles. And there's been a real stigma around mental health among veterans in general. But it's okay to seek help, and the VA is a good place to do it. Next slide, please.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Wright.
Information about the VA. Evolution is important, right? Because we learn from our past, and I see great progress happening. And now with this new legislation, I think the VA will really be able to do some things that maybe they weren't able to do before because they just didn't have the right policy in place for them. And so I really look forward to working with you guys on all of that.
I agree.
So we have another women veteran highlight. And I think maybe we can actually throw that poll back up because this is, I think, the third one. So Leslie, do you think we can get that poll back?
Oh, is it not up?
No, I don't see it.
Okay, so let me end it and try sharing again.
Okay.
Hold on here. Okay, here we go. Relaunch.
I just love this little photo of her. You can tell she just did a fun run, and
I
she
know.
all the little powder on her, and so we are down to number 3, you guys. So pick what you think is her current occupation. I'll give you a couple seconds to do that.
Spoiler alert, she has 2 fantastic photos.
All right, looks, I mean, we got 54 participants. You guys put your stuff in there.
Go ahead, make a guess.
All right, we'll give you 30 more seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Next slide. See if you got it right. Centauria is a high school ROTC instructor and a woman veteran. She retired from the Army as a human intelligence collector after 23 years. Just the title's awesome, right? Human intelligence collector. She served on combat deployments where she interrogated human intelligence sources, analyzed documents, and prepared reports for Army leadership. But she now teaches high school students that participate in junior ROTC. So this is someone who really served after their service. Which is character and leadership development program, and mentors those who want to join the military. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for your service, Centauria. All right, next slide, please. So it says Director Wright will share her unique journey as a woman transitioning from the military. I have a story, as we all have stories. And, I unfortunately came out during the recession of 2011, right? We were experiencing some real economic downturns, and it was very difficult to try to find a position at that time. I started about a year before I knew I was going to retire to look for employment and to try to get, a decent job after my retirement. And I didn't find anything during that whole year. I think I interviewed once, and I was not chosen for that position. I tell you, networking is super important to your ability to get employment. I happen to be on a school board for my children's school, and the school had been looking for a bigger campus to move to. And so I was asked to support as a board member to figure out how to do that, how to get them to that bigger campus. So we as a committee worked on that. And as time went on, they moved to the bigger campus and recognized that they were not prepared for that move. They grew from 80 students to 180 students, and they had 10 times more buildings and facilities than they had at their small location. So after one of the board meetings, one of the chairman asked me, hey, would you consider working for us? We know you're retiring, and we need somebody to help us with our financial issues, our HR issues, and our facility issues. And as it turned out, I had all those skills from the military. And so that's how I got my first job out of the military. Not something I was seeking, not something I was even thinking about, but because the opportunity presented, and it was a great learning experience. And I would probably never have gotten that had I not been out there and had networked with this little group of people who were trying to run this school. So I tell you that because one, that is not a unique story. I feel like women come out and it's super difficult for us. I mean, it's difficult for all veterans, but I think it's really difficult for women veterans because employers do not understand us. They have preconceived notions of what we are. We're butch, we're crazy, we're whatever. And sometimes they can't see past that to take a chance on us. And so I always say to women, please don't shy away from your veteranness. You are a veteran and you need to own that. But also be aware that people judge you when they know that, and be prepared to have the conversation with them about it, right? Even beforehand, before they even ask, explain to them what you did and how you did it and why you're a leader and all the good things you learned in the military and how those good things can now be good things for the new employer. Those are the things that you want to say to them. And so I just share that story like Leslie shared hers and Sabrena shared hers, because we all have good stories to tell and we all need to share them with each other. So if you are a women veteran in the audience, which most of you are, please share in the chat if you've enrolled with the VA or utilized any of the benefits that you have earned after transitioning from the military. For instance, have you filed your claim for any illness or injury that came with your military service? Have you bought a home with your VA loan? The VA office has tons of programs. It's not called Voc Rehab anymore. It's called Veteran Readiness. Sabrena, tell me what the new name is. Veteran Readiness. I'm sorry, I can't remember it, but it's a new name.
No, I don't have it off the tip of my tongue either. I will get it just a second.
Okay.
I think I had Voc Rehab on my slide. I apologize.
It's called something new now, and I always recommend, because I feel like women probably don't take advantage of that as much as counterparts, right?
And it really is a way to transition effectively and to acknowledge, what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are and move forward in a career that works for you. It's a powerful program. Veteran Readiness and Employment. There it is.
Yay. Thank you, Lori, too, for pointing that out. And the other side of this is state services. So we were just talking amongst ourselves in my department about how few women we have in our state veteran home. We have 320 beds between our state veteran home in Phoenix and our state veteran home in Tucson. And I think we have a total of 6 women in both of those facilities. And so we kind of had a little discussion about, is it cultural? Do we take care of our moms and our sisters at home? Or is it an issue of, they don't think about it. They just don't think about, I can go into these veteran homes just like the men can. If I need support, I don't have family, or if my family can't support me because they just don't have the capacity to do so. So, these little things are things that we just need to make ourselves aware of and work on to make sure that all women veterans understand all services and benefits that they should have access to. So I'm just going to read a couple of some of the things that some of our ladies have used as far as services and benefits. We have home loan, enrolled in VA healthcare. We have the Be Connected program that focuses on upstream approaches and engagement, filing claims with the help of our veteran benefit counselors. enrolled at the VA and service connected. You know, and the other thing I think that women don't really understand is if they are at a certain economic level, they can also file for compensation. Yeah, there's an age limit and there's a means for whatever income you have, but that's another opportunity that I think women don't really take advantage of. And so it's great to know that some of you know about these programs that we have out there, but if you didn't know, do a little research, because there could be some things out there that you have access to that you're not taking advantage of. Okay, next slide, please. So this is one of my favorite questions. You see, these are our ladies in the We Are Not Invisible program that's kind of gone across the nation. And I just love, you know, seeing all of these ladies, you know, showing themselves that they're veterans, they're not invisible, and they're all those things that you see on the slide. And so the question that I would have for you to put in the chat and comment is that, you know, what do you want the community to know about us? Let's see. More than 30,000 women leave the military every year. VA projects women veterans to make up 16.3% of the veteran population by 2043. Female veterans are twice as likely to experience homelessness than civilian women, and twice as likely to commit suicide than other civilian women. There are a few notable areas where women veterans say their transition challenges are unique. Military service in and of itself defeminizes women and is a contrary experience in cultural norms. When these same women return to civilian status, there is a myriad of unexpected challenges associated with this deeply psychological transformation. A stark lack of peer support post-transition is often noted by female veterans. They report not feeling accepted by civilian women, and they struggle with finding a group of peers in which they feel supported and encouraged. I will say amen to that. Mm-hmm. Right? Even today, I have to go back to our community to find women to talk to, because sort of in my other neighborhood or other places that I, am at, you can't find us. And so it's hard to sometimes connect with civilian women. One of the other things is lack of child care assistance for single mothers and financial instability due to the lack of financial literacy are all issues women veterans face. So let's read what some of you guys had to say. What do we want the community to know?
We are loyal workers and leaders, committed and resilient. I love that.
Yeah, not every veteran is a combat veteran. We are productive and active citizens. Employers should understand we are worth employing. We are resilient, strong, loyal, smart, and make great employees. We do not have a look, and we are all diverse and unique. That's awesome. I am currently serving part-time guard. I want the community to realize that significance of being a mother, a military member, civilian, professional, and all things that come with these commitments. Bravo. Yes.
That's it right there. Yes.
Yes. We're loyal workers and leaders. Balancing reserve duties with the rest of the society expectations is so hard. I so remember that as a guard member. My husband was a guard member too, and trying to find weekend daycare. Oh my gosh.
That's not a thing.
The gold at the end of the rainbow. We are experienced in male-dominated areas. I have an SMI, or I have an SM, a mil spouse, mother, a Blue Star mother at the same time. Yeah, so, we hear you ladies, and, we do want the community to know, and you know me, I'm the foghorn out there trying to make sure people understand what we are. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? See, I lost myself in all that. All caught up, you know?
I'm going to go ahead and move us ahead, if it's okay, Director Wright, to the questions.
How many minutes do we have, Leslie?
Well, we didn't miss a whole lot. We've got Lorelei put up some information about daycare, childcare resource and referral. So that's something we want to make sure. And I want to highlight, I'm going to put up the last slide that's got information, contact information for Be Connected, ADVS, all that information, and let you all know, I know you've got questions. There is a VA benefit session coming up, and you can always call us at Be Connected, go to the website, call AZDVS, and go to their website and find so much information out there. It's there. And that's one of the reasons Be Connected exists, is because we wanted one place where you can go to find everything you need. Even if you can't find it all on the website, I'm trying to add stuff as quickly as possible, but our operators at the Be Connected website, we partner with CRN, so it's not a crisis line, it's a support line. So if you have questions, you're trying to reach out for someone else, that's what we're here for. And even if you don't qualify for VA benefits, we will find somebody in the community who can help you. And that's what we're here for.
Are we done? Or are we over yet or not? I'm sorry.
So can we just take one question? Does anybody have one question that they'd like to ask? I feel like we have 1 minute. You want to ask it in chat? Oh, that's a great question. What can non-veteran women do to support veteran women?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think it's really all about educating people, right? And Sabrena or Leslie, you guys pipe in.
Yeah.
You know, when you can talk about, you know, we have all these wonderful women out here who have these great skills from their military experience, and support us in hiring, right?
Yes.
When we go to school, when we're in the school systems, and support us as moms who are home trying to take care of kids.
Well, I also think about
Go ahead, Sabrena.
some of the women in my social circle who are non-veterans, and I'm always the strong one in the group. I have opinions and I have things to say, and I say them. And I think to hear your women veteran friends and acknowledge them and celebrate their strength. Because I think a lot of times there are different labels that are placed on that strength. And as women, when we can support each other, it is life-changing. I think we all know that when women support other women.
Yeah. And I think back now when, of course, this has been years and years, and I finally found a place where I feel like I fit. But one of the reasons I think that I lost a lot of jobs is because I was a veteran and I was used to taking charge and used to telling everybody else, hey, this is what we need to do. Not everybody in the civilian world is used to that. It's very different. And so, you know, just so everybody knows, like I said, on ADVS, on their website, on the Be Connected website, we have events, we have volunteer opportunities, we have partners. Look to see what groups are out there. Reach out, find out what you can get involved with, find out what's going on in the community. There are Facebook groups, and we've got so much information. The information Lorelei put up there about the community resource referral. We've got a lot of that stuff on the Be Connected website. Just see what's out there and get involved and make connections. And that's what we're here for.
So I just want to thank everybody for participating with us today. I think it was an awesome session, and I'm hoping you can go see some more sessions out there that have just as equally good information and education. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Have a great day, everyone.